Manila Bulletin, 24th of April 2023. After an idiotic Chinese diplomat causes controversy, China declares that it respects the sovereignty of the former Soviet Union. On Monday, after Beijing's envoy to France stirred fury in Europe by casting doubt on the sovereignty of those countries, China claimed it respected the sovereign state status of all former Soviet Union, ex-Soviet, countries. Following the fall of the Soviet Union, China respects the sovereign state status of the participating republics, according to Mao Ning, a spokeswoman for the Foreign Ministry. Asserting that nations that developed after the demise of the Soviet Union don't have effective status under international law because there is not an international agreement confirming their status as sovereign nations caused a stir, Beijing's ambassador to France, Lu Shaye. The ambassador's remarks appear to apply to all former Soviet republics that became independent countries after the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991, including members of the European Union, in addition to Ukraine, which Russia invaded in February 2022. Mao emphasized on Monday that China defends the objectives and tenets of the UN Charter and respects the sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity of all nations. China was among the first nations to forge diplomatic ties with critical countries following the fall of the Soviet Union. Josep Borrell, the head of the EU's foreign policy, called the comments unacceptable and tweeted that the EU can only assume these declarations do not represent China's official policy. Beijing also took a step back from Lu's comments on Monday, reaffirming its ostensible neutral stance on Russia's conflict in Ukraine. China has consistently upheld the values of equality and respect for one another since diplomatic connections were first established to foster amicable and cooperative relations between the two countries, according to Mao. She said, "We will be vigilant about this, because certain media misread China's stance on the Ukrainian problem and are fostering division in relations between China and relevant nations." Following a wave of uproar over Lu's remarks last week in Europe, the three EU-member Baltic states summoned China's envoys to explain on Monday. If anyone is still asking why the Baltic states don't trust China to broker peace in Ukraine, here is the Chinese envoy saying that Crimea is Russian and our country's boundaries have no legal basis, the Lithuanian Foreign Minister Gabrielius Landsbergis stated on Twitter. Lu has previously acknowledged being a member of the so-called wolf warrior class of Chinese diplomats, a moniker used to refer to those who aggressively defend China in the face of criticism. Days after Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou was detained in Canada at the request of the United States, the ambassador to Canada, in January 2019, accused Canada of white supremacy for advocating for the release of two Canadians held in China. And in August of last year, he said the Taiwanese people would need to be re-educated if China took control of the self-governing island.